Downing Street apologises to Buckingham Palace after revelations that two parties were held at number 10 the night before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral last year.
The Prime Minister did apologise for mistakes that have been made. We have the inquiry taking place by Sue Gray, and we are very clear that there were real mistakes made.
Further revelations this evening. Another leaving event took place in the Cabinet Office in December 2020 for the then head of the government's COVID task force. Kate Josephs has tonight apologised. A court in Australia orders Novak Djokovic to be detained from tomorrow morning after the government cancelled his visa for a second time. Remembering Ashling Murphy, vigils are being held across Ireland for the 23-year-old who was murdered while out jogging. The Welsh Government is to ease coronavirus restrictions over the next 2 weeks after a drop in Omicron cases. And coming up, there's another Scream in your cinemas. Find out what Mark Kermode thinks about the fifth in the movie franchise and the week's other big releases in the film review at 5:45. Good evening, welcome to the BBC News at 5. I'm Jane Hill. Downing Street has apologised to Buckingham Palace after revelations that two parties were held at number 10 the night before the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral. A spokesman for Boris Johnson said it was deeply regrettable that the events took place at a time of national mourning. COVID rules at the time banned indoor mixing, but reports suggest there was drinking and dancing until the early hours. The Prime Minister wasn't at those two parties, but the latest disclosures, which the Daily Telegraph reported, have fuelled more calls for his resignation. And in the last hour, a former Director General of the government's COVID task force has issued her own apology for a Cabinet Office drinks party in December 2020. We'll have more on that shortly. Our first report is from our political correspondent, Nick Eardley.